Hello, friends. It's Monday, second week back to school. We are semi up and running with our school year. I wanted to hop on and say hello and chat with you guys some this afternoon. Hope you guys are doing well. Let me flip the camera around and I'll introduce myself. Hello, come on in. Hey there, everybody. Loving Calm Chaos. That is a fantastic username. If you've not been on one of my scopes before, or maybe even if you have, would you please put your name down in the comments there, because I'm really bad about names and I probably don't remember your name even if you've been on a scope before. I apologize for that. It's not for lack of love, but I'm happy to have you. My name is Lena Sutherland. I'm a homeschool mom to 7. 5 of them are school aged right now. The other 2 are younger. Larissa, what a lovely name. Welcome. I blog over at homeschoolingwithouttrainingwheels.com. It's the same as my Periscope handle, just addon.com. And you can also find me on Facebook and Instagram at HSWO Training Wheels. And what I wanted to talk to you about today is related to mom anger. So if anybody is on here that has dealt with mom anger, would you please just let me know? Just put a little hand emoji or whatever emoji strikes your fancy as related to this, or a yes or a sad face. I think that, if it's any comfort to you, struggling with anger and frustration sometimes just comes with the territory of being a homeschool mom, being really any mom, because, but especially I think with the homeschool mom, because I had a friend one time tell me, she said, I feel like I vacillate between apathy and anger, right? On the one hand, you say like, oh, forget it. I'm just not going to care about this anymore. And then you say, no, this is important. I have to care about this. This is my job. I got to care. And so then, when you start caring more, then, you start finding yourself frustrated more by how it's not going the way that you thought it was, or the way you thought it would. And so I think, especially homeschool moms, obviously care a great deal about their parenting. We wouldn't be homeschooling if this wasn't something that was, something that we felt of great responsibility to be involved with our children's education and their raising up. And so I think, feeling angry, feeling frustration is very common. And so I do a monthly guest post on the blog for one of the homeschool organizations in my state, the HEAV organization. And last month when I guest posted, I talked about 3 kind of underneath parts to mom anger. And this was not by any means meant to be an exhaustive list. It was more just, these are 3 things that I've recognized about myself, that I've found help me to ask questions about what's going on underneath. And if you want to either read a post about that or see scopes about that, the scopes are on my account. There's a link to the post on my blog. You can find it there. But just a quick summary. I feel like when I'm angry, it tells me what I love. It tells me basically, what is most important to me in that moment. When I'm angry, it gives me a glimpse into what it was I was expecting, because usually anger comes when there's a gap between expectation and reality. And when I'm angry, it tells me something about what I think I deserve or what I think I've earned. And, so those, again, I'm not an expert. I'm not a psychologist. That's not by any means an exhaustive list. It was just, these are some questions, some kind of underneath heart-searching kinds of things that have been helpful to me. And so this month, the guest post that I wrote for the HEAV blog, I really wanted to focus more on not kind of the philosophical heart examination side of anger, but more just kind of like the on the ground running. Because definitely knowing yourself can help you in the moment. Taking time outside of the moment to say like, why did I get so angry? What was going on there? Can really help. But I also wanted to talk about some actual in-practice strategies. And so today I just want to talk with you about one of the things that I mentioned. Hey, I'm so glad you're here. I'm glad to see you. So one of the things that I've been saying to myself, and I don't know where I came up with this, it's just kind of a little phrase that I developed in my head, and probably somebody could come up with a better formulation of it. But this is what I've been saying to myself. Instruction, not destruction. Okay? And here's an example of how this works for me. So let's say The alarm goes off at way too early in the morning, and I really don't want to get out of bed, but I know that the day will go better if I get up before the kids and I have some quiet time to myself and I read and I pray a little bit and I have a chance to get my thoughts together and get the day moving. And so I get up, and I do all the like getting dressed stuff that I have to do, and I get downstairs, the coffee's brewed, it's in my hand, I sit down in the chair, and I'm finally ready to do this really important thing that I've just sacrificed sleeping in order to do. And like you can imagine what happens next, right? The 6-year-old and the 3-year-old both go into the bathroom at the same time. They're fighting over the bathroom. They're screaming. They wake up the 18-month-old who is now crying, not sleeping anymore. Now mommy is on duty and is putting out a fire of 2 siblings who are fighting. Poof, there goes my alone time. It's gone. And, so I'm flinging the covers that I have tucked around my legs, right? Flinging them to the side because I am going to charge up those stairs and I am going to, verbally at least, rip into those children and explain to them how extremely inconvenient they're being to me right now, right? Right. It doesn't matter how much earlier you get up. So again, you could trace that back to expectations. Perhaps my problem was in the first place expecting that simply because I set my alarm earlier that I would have more time before the kids woke up. But I've been in your house because I haven't been in your house, but I mean, I can describe your experience because it's a common experience. And I think we need to keep saying that. We need to keep saying, like, this is not an isolated problem where 1 or 2 moms struggle with anger. When you care about something, there's a very thin line between caring deeply and letting yourself get, really frustrated and angry and wrapped up in an unhealthy way. Okay, so imagine this scenario where, poof, my quiet moment alone is gone. The coffee will be cold before I get back to it, right? And so I throw the blanket off my legs. I'm going to, pivot on that right foot and head up those stairs. And what I'm saying to myself in that moment is instruction, not destruction. Instruction, not destruction, right? I mean, is something happening that I need to help with? Yes, I can't leave the 18-month-old unattended. 2 children are screaming over the bathroom. They're little enough that they're probably not going to be able to work it out on their own. I'm going to need help. So something needs to happen. But the reason that I've been saying to myself, instruction, not destruction, and again, if you can come up with a better formulation of that, I'm sure you can. Please share it. But the shift that I'm trying to do in my mind is a shift from me taking personal vengeance for a wrong that was done against me to me coming alongside my children and providing them with the guidance and the instruction that they need to grow into people who are able to, think of others, love each other, follow the guidelines of the household so that we can, live together in order and in peace. And so, what I need to do when I head up those stairs is I need to be thinking not about like, basically, this is embarrassing, but, sometimes my motive is basically like, how can I get them back for what they've done to me? Now, I would never say that out loud, and I would probably cloak those motives under something more like, I'm going to be consistent in my discipline or something like that. But underneath, truly, it's kind of like revenge. It's kind of like, I want them to hurt for how they've hurt me. And that sounds ugly and scary, but I hope that by saying that out loud, it will, help us to be, to look it in the face what, really is going on underneath sometimes when we're having those angry moments. So I need to switch my thinking, not from like, how can I get them back, but how can I instruct them? And I cannot tell you how many times since I've started saying that to myself, I have truly found that truly, truly, truly what was needed was instruction. And I'm not talking like a reminder. I'm talking like ground level instruction. Like, to me, this is so obvious. To me, this is so like we've been over it a million times. And yet when I started addressing it, I realized like they really don't understand. They really did not understand how loud their voices were. They really did not fathom, that what they were doing was going to wake up the baby or whatever the situation is. So many, many times I would say, 8 or 9 out of 10, really truly what they did need was instruction, was explanation. And, they really do learn to start cross-applying, right? If you're loud in the morning, if you're loud at nap time, any of the times when you're loud, you can wake up the baby. But it takes a while for them to get there. And so sometimes I feel like, well, if I told you yesterday during nap time to be quiet because you might wake up the baby, application time, instruction, not destruction. Just because you were supposed to be quiet during nap time yesterday doesn't mean that you're automatically going to understand that at 6 a.m. the following morning, that's the same scenario. So sometimes what they really, really, really need is just truly instruction. They just need some explanation of, sweetie, this is the same kind of thing we talked about before. This is another one of those circumstances where you can really change the game by being loud when the baby is sleeping. Okay, now I know you're thinking, well, are we supposed to always pretend like our kids just don't know any better? Because how are we going to teach them to be responsible for their behavior? Because there are times where they know good and well they shouldn't have done something, and they're doing it anyway, and it's having a negative impact on, the family or their siblings or whomever. Are we supposed to always pretend like just all they need is an education, all they need is more information? And I think still that phrase has been helpful to me, because still, if I'm saying to myself, instruction, not destruction, instruction, not destruction, then even when there need to be some kind of consequences handed out or some kind of, repercussions for the choices they've made, still, the focus is not on revenge. It's not on, let me give you equal to how much you've inconvenienced me. I should never be meting out my consequences to my children based on how much it hurt me, how much it inconvenienced me, how much it changed my plans, but completely based on their needs for growth, their needs for learning how to be individuals who live in community with others, their need for understanding the impacts they're having on relationship. So, a toddler can be way more inconvenient than a 10-year-old, but that does not mean that we should mete out consequences based on how inconvenient they are or how much they disrupt the schedule. It has to be based on a knowledge of that child, where that child is, what they've learned, where they are in that learning process, and even, how much progress this particular episode represents from a prior episode. So, perhaps it's still super inconvenient, but it actually represents growth, progress forward from a previous similar episode. So even if, yes, there need to be some kind of consequences, like, it is time to get up, but you didn't, you're yelling, you're fighting, you need to get back in your bed and lay down for 5 more minutes, or whatever, you might need to do. Still, the focus is on the growth, the needs, the progress of the child, not on mommy feeling satisfaction from, getting back at the kids who inconvenienced her. So that's my little thought for the day. And like I said, I'm getting ready to, I think tomorrow, the post goes up live on the HEAV blog. I always put a little teaser on my blog when I've got a guest post somewhere else, so you can always find them from my blog. But if you want to see the one from last month, if you want to see the periscopes that I did about the 3 kind of things that I find underneath my anger, or if you want to be notified for the post that's coming up tomorrow, you can find it at hswotrainingwheels.com, and I would love to see you there, or on my Facebook page, or on my Instagram. So thank you all for joining me today, and I hope to see some of you at Homeschool Happy Hour if you're a member of the Homeschool Scopes. So, all right, take care, guys.